So once we signed the contract, sent it to her, the next day we got served. After that, I knew it was like, hey, I can't keep doing this if I'm gonna run into that same issue. One way is have these people reaching out to me.
Inbound is going to be so much more important than cold calling. Pretty soon we're going to have 40% of people not answering the phone because of iOS update. Android's going to do the same thing. They love that they're not getting 10 potential cold calls or loan offers or refi offers from random numbers a day. They won't even know that someone's calling them because it's a number they don't know. We'll just completely say, no, you can deal with the voicemail, and they can decide to call back if they want. Where at least before, if you're cold calling, like the phone was going to ring unless, it was disconnected. Now it's you're never even going to get a chance for them to get that call.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors, where millionaires are made. Today we have Craig Murdoch and Andrew Rapier with Lead House 365, and they flew in from Orlando to talk about why cold calling is dead in 2026 and the lessons they learned after spending $100 million. Guys, I'm on a mission to create millionaires. The information on this show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you'll take consistent action, you will become one. Before we jump in, if you're here to learn how real entrepreneurs are building real empires, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because every week we're dropping lessons that can help you create your first or your next million. And right now, you've got 100,000, $250,000, probably more, sitting in your CRM. Resurrect all your old and dead leads with the objection-proof AI calling agent. Text CASH to the phone number 33777 to unlock the money that's just hanging out in your CRM. Guys ready?
Go.
All right. So you guys have an interesting story arc. So I think we'll start first is what got you guys into real estate?
He can start there because he's the real estate guy. I got into real estate because of him. So
okay.
Yeah, I got into it just from a friend of a friend. We grew up together in New England, and once I was done with the weather, and I moved to Texas and was working just a 9 to 5, and it just wasn't cut out for me. I knew that there's something more. Met a friend who introduced me to another friend about real estate, and from there I just was all YouTube and started learning about wholesale and this whole strategy of assignments, right? And I got into it, and it took me about 6 to 8 months to get my first deal under contract, which is still sitting at the closing table to this day, 10 years later, because of a seller backing out. But that didn't stop me. I knew there was a proof of concept. I could feel there was something there. And from there on out, within a month after that deal falling apart, I got 3 under contract, closed them all, and then quit my job and just went full force into wholesale.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So how was that journey? It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So how was that journey in building out your wholesale operation?
It was hard. It was tough, because at that point I was more materialistic with money, and I was not investor savvy. I didn't know where to put it. I didn't know to, put it back into marketing, or I was just like, hey, I'm going to upgrade my car. I'm going to get the newest iPhone. I'm going to go and just buy a bunch of Bitcoin or go to the casino. So
that probably was a good investment though.
That probably was.
Yeah. But
as long as you still have it.
I was just living day to day, just buying stuff to impress people that don't care, looking, just playing that game. And once I realized that I was doing more harm than good, I started, opened up the back end of the business and was like, okay, I started figuring out where to put the money, right? And it all led back into marketing. And from there, we increased our deal size because we were feeding the machine, and we got away from some cold call and some outbound strategies we had. Contacted Andrew, and then we essentially built Lead House from scratch based on my experience with outbound. We just switched it all to inbound, and then.
So you were doing deals. How long ago did you looking at the bring Andrew?
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
I got hit with a TCPA litigator lawsuit.
So 5 years ago, you're wholesaling. What market were you in?
Houston.
You're doing deals in Houston, and how many deals were you doing at that time?
We were doing anywhere, I would say probably 4 to 5 to like our best month was like 10, maybe 12. Okay. But we were just solely focused on the deal, just going full speed ahead. We were ripping any list we could find from anywhere and just dialing everybody. And that's what happened.
So pulling lists, tracing them, cold calling them.
Yep.
That worked great.
Yep. Until I hit a lady who was like, I think they call him a troll. Is it like a DNC troll? And she just sets up a bunch of fake numbers,
Oh, really?
and just dog walks people who call about whatever property it is, and just dog walks them right into a contract.
Mm.
So once we signed the contract, sent it to her, the next day we got served. Yeah. So it was, I mean, she had a process. And after that, I knew it was like, hey, I can't keep doing this if I'm going to run into that same issue. You know, I'm not set up to
A lucrative model for them,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't see it so much right now, but I remember for a while, like, there were commercials at night. Like, are you getting cold called?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And he said like whole Discord communities of teaching people how to do it. And you
Oh,
can
really?
you join my program. I'll teach you how to
Yeah.
get payback against these people, and you get paid. I get paid. Like, you know, crazy.
So join my program to
communities.
learn how to cold call the wholesale, and the other guys join my program on how to collect money from people
Yeah.
that are cold calling
Yep.
the wholesale.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Discords is crazy.
Yeah.
I knew attorneys were doing it,
Yeah.
but having a Discord behind it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Wild.
So yeah, that whole mess happened.
So, I mean, was it like one TCPA fine, or was it like he was subpoenaing you? Like, what was that situation?
yeah, it was one from the same lady, but she had a class action lawsuit going on with a bunch of, like, she's known for doing this.
Oh, so she was like getting other people to come
Yeah.
after you, or come after?
No. But she was just like, hey, I'm not playing around. So, and I was too green at that point. So we didn't really fight it. You know, we did countersue, and then we ended up settling out of court. But I wasted, 6 months of my life dealing with this problem when I'm just trying to do solid, clean business. It just, I knew there's a better way to do it. And one way is have these people reaching out to me, not me reaching out to them.
What was the one violation?
Hmm.
How much was it for?
We ended up paying, at first it was going to be like 15 something. But we ended up paying like 25. We paid her like $2,500, paid an attorney $500. So it wasn't as bad when we settled it down. Obviously my lawyer handled the negotiating.
Yeah.
But it was just a kick in the stomach.
Well, there's a loss of sleep. There's a stress.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
you
don't
have to
know
deal
what your
with it.
lawsuit's like, but like when I get, it's like, Steve and Jane Doe Trang, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone in the company and their spouses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I've dealt with the same things in mine. I've dealt with being a digital advertiser and having your entire business manager get hacked, and all your clients' credit cards have thousands of dollars of ad spend being run on it overnight, and trying to deal with that headache. So, it's sometimes those hardest lessons are what lead you to your best ideas. I think that's one of the, because he hit me up. I've been doing digital marketing for, my entire life. My first job out of grad school was at digital marketing agency where I was
Out of high
doing-
school.
I went to grad school.
Grad school,
for
got it.
business. My first job was at digital marketing agency because they were just like, you have an MBA, so you can probably do something, whether it be sales or whatever. But they ended up having me working on the back end doing SEO, which at the time, like this was, 20 years ago, SEO was the gold mine. It was like the gold rush of marketing was SEO. It was like Google ads was just kind of starting. There was no Facebook ads really. So I was doing SEO, and I was doing it for lawyers or local dentists, landscapers, things like that. Transitioned into working in-house for a software company. So now I was managing tens of thousands of dollars a month in advertising budgets for Google ads, and doing their SEO and all their graphic design and things like that. Ended up leaving there and becoming the marketing director for a theme park in Orlando, which was pretty fun and different. Doing everything from like their not only all their digital marketing and social media marketing, but all of their brochures and all the graphic design and everything. And then but one of my mentors came to me and was like, hey, I'm starting a new startup, and I want you to come take that leap of faith to just quit your cushy job and go do that. So I did that, took that leap, and that ended up being where I first learned about Facebook ads. And this is probably 2016, 2017, where it was like really the wild, wild west. Like we were running digital products. So we were just selling PDFs through a ClickFunnels and generating $30,000 a day in revenue with no cost of goods sold and very low overhead, with just a bunch of college bros who are learning Facebook ads from teaching each other and just throwing stuff at the wall. So it was really a crash course, drinking from the fire hose, how to learn digital ads in that sense. And we scaled that business. We worked with several tons of fitness influencers, creating digital products and digital courses for them, and then scaling them on ads. And that led me to leave there and start my own
Well,
e-commerce
I mean, I miss
agency.
those days.
Yeah, I know, I do too. Yeah.
Those are the days you could target income,
Yep.
number of children,
Yep.
age of the kids,
Household information. Yeah.
everything,
They had
right?
everything.
What kind of cars they like to drive. Trying to think, what were the other things that we had in there?
Lookalike audiences really worked really well. So if you
Yeah.
had like a list of buyers, you could build a lookalike audience off of that, and then that would just convert like gangbusters. So if you had an email list and you were a marketer who was in the email game, then
Yeah.
when you jumped into this new world, you could just crush.
Yeah, so you basically could do just about anything. Only thing you couldn't do was ethnicity, right? Even gender, age. And I mean, there was one that story of like, because you had like upload at least 20 people to target.
Yep.
Someone uploaded a list of 20 people, but like only one was real.
Yeah.
Like, is it just target one person?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild back then. And what you could say in advertising was a lot broader. Really, Mark Zuckerberg going in front of Congress a few years ago, and that whole thing really changed how they did things. But back then, to be a digital marketer, you could come up with anything and sell it, and the cost of advertising was so cheap, like pennies on the dollar what you'd pay to run an ad now, because there was so much less competition. No one wanted to take the time to learn how to run an ads manager, which is like learning another language. It's not very easy and seamless, and they make it that barrier to entry for a reason. So we were doing that, led me start my own e-commerce agency. And up until there's this big iOS update in the 2021 maybe, but up until then I was spending about $30,000 a day of clients' money across just on Facebook ads, and then probably another 100,000 across all the other ads platforms, Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok, Google ads, YouTube ads. Until he came and I was said he wanted to come up with help with inbound. So I was just helping Craig out, like my buddy I went to high school with, and he needs some help. And so I took my brain of like how I convinced someone to maybe take out their wallet and buy a $5,000 high ticket course from an influencer, and what I would need to do to set that funnel up, but just to set that up to acquire a motivated seller.
So you reach out to Drew. Hey, like, I need help with marketing. So this time, were you spending any money on marketing, or were you just cold calling?
No, we completely switched to inbound, but we were just doing mail.
But prior to getting your
it
was just strictly cold.
It was cold call and text.
All right, so then you go to inbound. So you do direct mail. You reach out to Drew. Hey, like, help me generate leads.
Yeah, because I knew I wanted mail quality leads. They're very good quality, but there's no consistency in it, and I didn't know too much about it either. I didn't know, hey, you got to spend like a ton of money, and the calls just come in whenever they come in. And I knew from what me and him, like, I knew what he was doing, and I knew that he could get leads like on a better consistency level, like 1 a day, 2 a day, whatever it was, in the same quality that an inbound mail lead would get me. So then we just created the platform and launched it for me, ran it for a few years, and then put it out to the public.
Okay. So then you were, I guess, was it initially like Lead House, or were you like, you were still focused on your wholesaling side?
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing there was a point from like, hey, let's run Facebook ads, to like, hey, we have something here.
Yeah, it was, we ran ads, Google and Facebook for my own wholesale business.
For how long?
We probably did that for
2 years.
Yeah, I said 18 months, 2 years, something like that. And it worked really well, and it was getting consistent results. And a lot of these sellers weren't ever talking to anybody before. The way the algorithm was built, it was kind of looking for people beyond sell my house fast. It was looking for people with maybe a funeral home, or they're applying for 4 or 5 jobs in Minnesota. We knew that, like, okay, now we're targeting people that have a real story and real motivation. And I was able to, do the same volume, if not a little better, but I didn't have 5 cold callers to manage either.
When we looked at spending like a $10,000 budget for a direct mail campaign and how long that took to pay itself back versus putting $10,000 into social media advertising, with how we built up the system, we would get it back within 30 days versus 6 months probably. Because that direct mail may sit on their desk for 4 months, and then they finally give you a call or whatever. or might be, where this is people seeing the ad and that contact information is in your CRM within 5 seconds of them seeing your ad.
Gotcha. Okay. So, how many deals were you guys doing a month? You're like, hey, like we should probably offer this to other people.
3 to 5, but there was no overhead. It was just that.
And we found that like we just talking to he was talking to his peers, and that's really what gave me the idea was it was like, man, I'm talking to guys who are spending $350 per lead on these PPL companies. And so that led me to go start researching what else was out there. And it was like a lot of PPL providers. And if you're in the industry, you probably know the names of the companies I'm talking about. But we went in and like started doing that ourselves and seeing what their customer experience was like. And we get a lead and it would already be one that we already had. So it's like, okay, we have to go this replacement process. But then to replace that lead, they give you like store credit back to their platform. So they're giving you lead that you already have or that maybe has been already resold. And then you have to go back and keep using them because they have you now in this like store credit cycle.
Yeah.
And so they kind of keep you stuck there. And then I was thinking like, well, with our system, we generate the lead. This person fills out a form through one of our custom funnels we build, and we can contact that person within 5 seconds. I'm thinking about their process must be that they generate that lead and then it uploads to their CRM, then goes live on their site. And then there's almost like an auction, like eBay, of wholesalers bidding on that. How much time goes by from when that person fills it out to where someone wins the auction, pays for it, and then contacts them? And I'm like, if you're in the business, like speed to lead is way too important in this. And with the ability of digital marketing, that PPL model makes absolutely no sense to me for that speed to lead to be such a massive gap between. So ours is instantaneous. The lead goes directly from the seller's brain, their information, and typing it out directly to our client. And then we do that exclusively. We only work with one person per market because when we realized working with these PPL companies, there's 6 guys in Tucson, Arizona, bidding more against each other. One person gets it, but maybe that person then has contacted one of those other wholesalers through some other form of advertising or whatever it might be, or maybe a cold caller. Now you have all 6 of them showing up to that house for an appointment to look at the house. And we're like, this just doesn't make sense. And then someone returns that lead and it gets put back into their system, and the next someone else comes and buys it. So we're like, there's a big problem there. And then I think a lot of people, there's just a knowledge gap into where me running ads and what I can do just from a skill set perspective of another marketer probably in this industry. And I'm not claiming to say I'm the best, but just with the knowledge I have, like a lot of people can play basketball. So you have the jerseys up here, but like not everyone can, even be on the bench of the Warriors, right? There's a lot of people who maybe are great marketers themselves. And then when you go to get fulfilled for your campaign, might be fulfilled by someone in the Philippines who just has some basic knowledge of how these ad platforms work, where I've been under the fire for the last 20 years, spending the money, been through the updates, been through all the changes, and understand how important the data is, how important the data works. So I use all that to build out these campaigns that normally are being fulfilled probably at a very low level of importance in the people's mind. And I leverage the data to really focus on like what's important to us. And when I was building this out for ourselves, we want someone who's highly motivated, who's going through some type of drastic situation in their life. So many other marketers are focusing on MLS data. The data is focused on the property data, MLS data, pre-foreclosure lists, things like that, where that data is never going to be probably accurate and up to date by the time it gets out. How long has that person been in pre-foreclosure before it finally gets that data, gets populated and gets input made public? On top of that, so I knew that was one thing. So we want to focus on the condition of the seller, not the property, but the seller. So I've trained our pixel to find people whose credit scores may be dropping. Maybe they're applying for personal loans. Maybe they're researching final expense insurance or things like that because they are about to lose a loved one. And maybe that's going to lead to them inheriting a home. Maybe they're going through a divorce. They start researching divorce attorneys. So all these signals of what the seller is going through. And then the last thing we worry about is if they're a homeowner.
Yeah.
Where so many other people, it's flipped the other way around.
If you're a real estate investor with a sales team and you're stuck babysitting reps instead of growing your business, this is for you. Right now, your reps are burning through your expensive leads like they're practice dummies. They're making costly mistakes you won't catch for weeks, and 70% of your potential revenue is walking to competitors because of inconsistent follow-up. That's why over 130 operators are now using objectionproof.ai to automatically review every single call within minutes, train reps with AI roleplay sessions, and never miss another follow-up. Stop watching your competitors pull ahead while you're trapped doing manager work. Click the link in the description and book a call with my team to see how we can help you install a self-managing sales team this week. So the thing that I heard Craig mention earlier, right? Like they're shopping at a funeral home or they're applying for jobs in other states. And what you're saying right now in regards to their credit is dropping, what I'm hearing a lot of is tension, life circumstances, reasons to sell your house. Right? Sell your house fast. Versus what I see traditionally when I'm on, when I was doing Google, it was just like, sell my house fast, cash buyer, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing like earth shattering on that side. On the Facebook side, it was generally like when I was running it, potentially how other people doing it. It was like ugly houses, right? And like, sell your house fast or cash, or it looked like a distressed older couple. That's the ads I was running. But it sounds like for you guys, it's not about message in the ads. It's about targeting the right audience.
And then you pair that with the right messaging. If you can pair the right person with the right
messaging is still similar.
Yeah, we may focus specifically on what those people are going through. Like we may have someone who's like a talking head being like, I just lost my mother and I inherited her home and it was across the country and I didn't know what I was going to do. I couldn't even afford to go look at this house and deal with the burden of it. But, House Offer 365, which is our brand that we run our ads through, was able to help me. They paid all the closing fees. It's like a testimonial of solving the problem. This is how this problem was solved for the person who's facing that problem versus just we buy houses fast or we buy ugly houses with a picture of an ugly house. They're relating to them on that specific emotional level and hearing it from a real person versus a marketer, a person speaking to them versus a marketer speaking to them is one thing. Because when I'm running e-commerce ads, I'm not going to expect for someone to pull out their wallet and buy something from just a static image that says, this will help you lose weight, right? But if it's someone with a before and after picture telling their story about how easy the program was, how awesome it was, how well it worked for them, it's so much more of an emotional connection you build with that seller. So, we like to focus on what the person is going through. If we're doing a good job when we call someone, similar to the call we saw you take when you're talking to a seller, what they're listening to what they're going through, we want them to be ready to tell us their life story and what unfortunate events have led them to this decision to sell their house. If they're just curious to get an offer, then that's not a lead to us, which a lot of other people would consider that a lead.
And what you're alluding to is we did a call YouTube video, which we'll put the link later on was a call that I jumped on, Steve Morales, and we're able to buy a house over the phone. So we'll get to that later on. So my first question is, how do you pull out this intention? Where are you getting this data? It doesn't sound like something's readily available, right? So for example, we had someone on the show months ago or last couple months, and we were talking about like, you can't just go out and buy data of people with 580 credit score. Because if I could, that's what I would do, right? I would look at someone that went from a 620 to 580, just target them all and just follow them all over Facebook. That's what I would do, but I can't go buy that data. So like, what are you guys doing?
So without giving away too much of the secret sauce, one is when you're doing creative testing, and like the pixel is really important. So, we have every company who's ever advertised has a pixel. And it basically makes it I always love this example is if you've ever been told your buddy, hey, I need to buy a new lawnmower. And then you go on your phone, and you see lawnmower ads, right?
Big coincidence.
It picks up all those things. So ours has been just trained for the years of through that. And what we do is pairing the pixel with, you're sending the pixel to data to the pixel. What you want to do is send the correct data because all data is not created equal. So if we're running an ad to a pixel that's for people who maybe are about to go through a divorce, our divorce pixel, and we have a now funnel which prescribes them a journey of questions they have to answer. And that first question is, are you getting divorced in the next 6 months? And if they say yes, then we send a signal to that pixel that you said, you did a good job, you found the right person. If it says, no, I'm not getting divorced in the next months, then that person cannot continue. And it says, no, you did a bad job. Eventually it says, oh, all these people who said yes also have been making these Google searches, also have this credit score, also have this, based off how we can build that funnel out with the questions, to where now we've now trained the pixel. And then from that way, then that pixel goes into becoming a home buying pixel, to where we have that funnel just to answer questions like, is this house currently listed on the MLS? Anyone who says yes is not allowed to continue. That way only no's get through. We're basically training that pixel based off how we build a funnel of questions to weed down to the exact persona we want. And then we've spent hundreds of thousands of our own dollars to train that pixel before we ever go launch it for actually acquiring homes.
Yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, the way you're talking about training a pixel is like training a dog.
Yep.
Good dog, bad dog. That's really it. But you're training the pixel for multiple different instances.
Yep.
And like, I like this approach. It's super simple because like I'm thinking like, which data did you buy and like how do you pair it? But it's like no, like you just told it.
Yep.
Go find these people,
Yep.
and when you find them, yes. I mean, and they're not the people. No, and just keep finding more and more of those people.
And that's it. It is literally. We all talk about AI as an AI machine. It's an AI dog. It wants to be. It wants a treat. But if you never tell it if it's doing a good job or not on a granular level, and you're always giving it the treat every time a lead comes through, it's never going to understand the actual type of lead you want. What is a good lead? So we make it so this dog needs to be able to go win the whatever Westminster dog show before we ever start telling it to go find this property.
Yeah. And then I guess because you guys are working with clients around the country, pair this with just different locations.
Yeah.
How that works.
Yeah. So we realized that like what we talked about, a lot of the problems were there was people working for multiple people in the same market. Like you have a person you're buying leads from and they're also selling leads to your competitor. And we're like, that's BS. Like we want one person in each market to actually just dominate that market. And we only want to work with the best of the best. And we're going to help that person become the A1 company in their market so that they can expand and expand and expand to where they're nationwide home buyers. But so that's why we only work with one person per each market, because we don't want that pixel to also get confused. We customize this funnel for you and your buy box. So if you both have different buy boxes for properties, but we're using the one pixel in that market, we will want to train it to do the one thing. Yeah. So in order to do our best, we really only work with one person per market. So our services are exclusive to.
That's interesting. So then I guess this pixel, is it one pixel that you service whole country? Fascinating. And then,
so like all ships rise together. Think about how much data is going into it in a day versus if you want to start your own Facebook pixel to just do it in Phoenix, you'd be getting maybe, a thousand, maybe a few hundred, good signals and a few hundred bad signals. Now we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands a day of training that pixel.
Yeah. I think probably just so people understand further what a pixel is, maybe you can just explain in a retargeting sense, like where people that are listening that aren't familiar with pixels, where they've experienced it day to day.
If you've ever been to a website and added a product to a cart, and then you see an ad that says, hey, you left this in your cart, and it's the exact product, that's because that pixel not only tagged you when you visited the site, it tracked every site you went on, how much time you spent on each page, and then whatever action you did beyond that. So usually you set up events, like a site visit is one event, and then we word them all the way down to like a purchase. And you want purchases, but there's also people who initiate checkout, who start entering their cart info, people who add to cart, people who just click that add to cart button, right? So we can organize user behavior based off each one of those events and run this ad to carts saying, hey, these people added this product to cart. Let's run an ad to them saying they left that in their cart. Yeah. And then you take that purchaser data and you exclude that data because technically everyone who also purchased added it to cart. So if that's ever happened to you, that's the beauty of these pixels. And now it's as crazy as people think they have like an FBI agent out listening to them because they're just seeing ads for things they're talking about and thinking about. And it's because these algorithms have gotten so advanced over the years.
And they're really, really good with attention. You know what you want to buy before you know you want to buy it. Just based off other.
Yeah, based on your other activity. If every single person who is about to buy a dog does these 5 searches and does these things, then they know you're about to buy a dog, and they start showing you ads for Chewy.
Yeah,
Chewy
before you decided to go do it, you're you've done all the other things that indicate you're going to do this. They're just advertising that with you. And I think another thing, just for everyone who's listening to understand further, like you say pixel, I say pixel, and that's like a marketing term.
Yes.
For everyone else, they might just refer to it as cookies.
Yeah, cookies. Yeah. Yep.
Algorithm.
Yep. And the cookie is what a pixel puts on you. You get it placed with a cookie. It's like a virus. Think of it as like you caught it, and now this business is tracking you with that cookie. But yeah, cookies and pixels, and it's really just a fancy word for a little bit of script that is on a website.
Right.
Like it's really simple. That feeds an algorithm.
Yeah. So when you guys are like, should I accept these cookies or reject these cookies? This is the reason why we reject these cookies.
Yeah, you should reject them, but as an advertiser, I hope you don't. I hope you say yes, like cookie me as much as possible, because it makes our job easier. But yeah, the good news is when we feel like we're helping, we are in turn helping people who are real estate investors, but our focus is helping people out of tough situations. And our real estate investors are just the vehicle to help these people, the solution, right? So by solving our real estate investors' problems, we love it because we're also solving a lot of problems for these people who may not be able to afford or have the timeline to work with a realtor. And this home may be the only asset they have that can help them through paying off that medical bill or moving to that place out of state or escaping a tough situation. So that's really what we're focused on, is if we are helping these people out of their tough situation they're going through in life, then that will in turn help our clients. If we're first focused on solving these people's problems.
Okay. So you're talking about rewarding pixel that you've trained. Typically when I hear pixels, I'm hearing Facebook pixels.
Mm-hmm.
You guys also do Google.
Yep. Google tracking scripts. Yeah, we do TikTok ads. We do a little bit of all. If there's motivated sellers there, we try to advertise there. But mostly what we do is I'd say Facebook and Instagram, just because that's where people are, and the cost is there. If we're doing like Google search advertising, we can obviously you get great people. Really, really high qualities, but it's going to be so much more expensive. We can get the same exact person through our system on this platform that's going to be cheaper.
Yeah. How much cheaper?
I'd say on average, if you're going through another provider or a PPL provider, you'll get it probably at least 60% cheaper. It's like we're the wholesaler who's selling the products to Costco. You're going straight to the source. The seller is going straight to your CRM versus someone in the middle marking that up.
Yeah. So it's interesting to hear, because I assumed that you guys are doing Google based off just my preliminary conversation with Steven. But so again, going back to what we were saying earlier. So Steven Morales, friend of mine, he's been on the show before. And I was on his show, I guess now it's been 2-3 months. Mm-hmm. And that's someone that, we did a lot of stuff together during Closest Olympics, during, COVID was kind of starting in 2020. We did Closest Olympics together, competed together. I thought he was the only other one that was really good. RJ Bates was pretty good too, but everyone else, it was clear we were the 3 best. Anyway, that's besides the point.
I believe.
But Steve was like, hey, like, you want to jump on Deal Desk and like we'll call some leads together. And I was like, I'm out of the business, right? Like I do sales training and AI. I'm not in the house buying business anymore. He's like, oh, okay. Well, do you think you can do it? I was like, of course I can still do it. Like, oh, then come on. And so I jumped on, and he was telling me about you guys. Like, yeah, there's Lead House 365. No one really knows about them, but like, these leads are great. All right, well, we'll find out. Right. And so I go first, and I make first dial, talk to a lady, get a signed contract. Right. And I think it was like 40 or 50 minutes. So that was so what you were saying, that was a Facebook lead from earlier that day.
Yep.
That was a one call close. Because typically that's not how it works with Facebook. Typically, Facebook has a longer cash conversion cycle, right? Like Google, they fill it out. They're ready. If you can, they're generally ready that day. Facebook, like they're interested, but they're still gathering information. And maybe it's 30 days, maybe 60, maybe it's 120 days. Facebook for us in our organization was never like that day. They filled out, they're ready to sign. But not only was she ready to go that day, Steven got someone else on the phone right? Because this deal desk we're doing over the course of 2 hours. So I think like I said, like 40, 45 minutes, I lock it up the contract over the phone. And then he jumps on, talks to one person. I think like 30, 45 minutes later, she signs a contract. Those are just, I'm not saying just, but those are Facebook leads from that day.
Yep.
That's insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably from that hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know, he was the one giving the feedback originally when we built out the system of like, dude, this is awesome. I don't think there's anything really doing this specific. And I think that you're 100% right. You know, the seller is the seller. We can get
that lady needed to sell.
That lady did need to sell.
She didn't like, I want to sell. Like
She
that
cried.
lady's like,
She was crying to you.
yeah.
And if you think about, you know, that person could go on Google and say, I need to sell my house because she's in the situation. And that is intent based, right? I think about the Google pages, Google ads, and why you can get such high quality leads is because it's that intent based solution, problem solution. You put in a problem, it gives you a solution, which is an advertisement to someone who will provide the situation. Just like old school enough to think about the yellow pages, you need a pizza restaurant. You go to P, there's a list of pizza restaurants. You need to sell your house. Here's a list of the people who will buy your house. Where Facebook ads could be more like a billboard, where there's a million people driving down the highway and they're seeing it, and the people who have that problem call in. Except when they click our ad, they have to go through this prescribed journey that weeds out probably 75% of people who are just interested and don't have a real problem.
Qualification process. You're saying is a more stringent qualification process through the Facebook marketing.
And that not only pre-qualifies that lead for you based off your buy box. We have some guys who have things as specific as we don't want to buy any homes that have pools and they must be in these zip codes, or guys who just want every single thing, whether it's a mobile home, townhome, like we can be as broad or specific. And that journey does two things. It qualifies that lead for you so it fits your buy box, but it also trains our pixel specifically what your campaign is looking for. And everyone's campaigns all over the country are training the master pixel of who motivated people are. So,
yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. There's two benefits here.
Yep.
It's a higher quality lead and it's a better trained pixel.
Yep.
So it serves two purposes.
And our pixel that's in Wisconsin is aiding the pixel that's the client in Phoenix and vice versa. Everyone wins when they're the more people we have on the market, which is why we are using our pixel nationwide, except for the places where we have clients for our own portfolio. And so we know it works. So, you know, if people are ever struggling, we know that like it's definitely not the leads problem for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The operator error sometimes.
So if you guys want to are curious, we'll put a link in the description of the call I did with myself, Stephen Morales, and then Lead House 365. And I think I'll show a couple different things. So you guys can see the lead quality, like listen to it for yourself, but also you know, you might enjoy listening to my call and Stephen's call. Maybe not.
Free game right there. We were like, dang, these guys are good.
I think you didn't talk to her about the house at all.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the phone with her for an hour, and it was more listening, but the conversation was about her.
Yeah.
And that's how all these conversations. Last night we're at dinner, and we saw a lead came in for a client of ours. The seller's son got killed, murdered, whatever, and just things like that of a person willing to say that information on a funnel, what they're going through is just, I mean, it's insane. It's a horrible situation, but clearly she can't go to the house anymore. You know, it's too much emotional distress. She wants to just get rid of it and, you know, be done and move on to the next chapter. So we run into some really like gut wrenching situations a lot. And these people need help.
And if you have a VA, calling them and asking them how many bedrooms the house has, it's a lot different than when you approach it the way you approach it, where I don't even think you got any information at the house. You had the address so you could look up some comps, but you didn't ask her anything about the property or the condition of the property, if it needed a new roof. You just were like, get it to the point you were building trust with her, and to where she wanted to work with you, and you made her believe that you were someone who could help her out of the situation and truly cared. And I think that's a big knowledge gap in this industry that was awesome to watch you do that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was what's the word I'm looking for? It was Awesome to have that opportunity, really, right? Like, because doing a live call with Steven, because I don't know what I'm,
Yeah.
right? So it was an amazing opportunity to get to experience your lead quality firsthand, but also get to exhibit because like I think there's still like because I'm not buying houses so much. There's like like does he really know what he's talking about? So
Yeah.
like hey like I kind of know what I'm talking about here. So again, we'll have that link in the description below. The other thing too, you guys had some adversity. Your accounts got hacked.
Yeah, this was actually my e-commerce agency. He was saying like he was talking about his lawsuits he's had on the real estate side. I mean, I had an e-commerce agency, and I think it was 2022. All of our accounts got hacked by someone in Russia, and I have probably 30 clients, e-commerce clients, all spending somewhere between $5,000 to $20,000 a day in ads, and just these campaigns being launched, everyone getting locked out of the ads manager, uh, campaigns being launched with $100,000 lifetime budgets, just maxing out every credit card and backup payment method on our clients' accounts, and waking up that morning and just having to deal with the communicating with our clients about what happened and falling the sword from that, and then dealing with Meta. And luckily, it was not a unique thing to us. It had happened to thousands of agencies in the United States, and really led Meta to really start doing stronger two-factor and face authentication.
So it was an exploitation against Meta.
Yep.
So it wasn't anything you did.
No, it was a meta issue. But also it led us to really think about our own security of our company and what we can do, and crazy learning experience like him of like making sure all your employees that two-factor thing and having fail safes and backups and who has access to things. Really important. So like just all learning lessons you learn the hard way. Sometimes the most important lessons are the ones you have to learn the hard way.
Oh, for sure. And then other thing too, we're going to talk about cold calling and why we think the industry is not going to make it in 2026. Before we do that, you guys are still actively buying houses.
Mm-hmm. Commercial houses, portfolios, dirt. We do everything.
Yeah, I mean, how many houses or how many properties? I guess more general than how many properties are you guys buying right now?
I mean, contracting. We have some partners too. I would say probably 5 to 10 a month, and then keeping maybe about 3-4 a month.
Okay, so contracting 5 or 6, but keeping 3 or 4. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah.
You're buying to keep more than you're buying to wholesale.
Well, at this point, the marketing's dialed in. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? These sellers are coming to us with problems. All we have to do is put an agreement together. We do a lot of subject to as well, takeover. So they just want a couple grand, and the thing cash flow is $200 a month. Then I'm not wholesaling it to somebody else. I'm keeping it. That's for me. But also I'm glad you brought that up. We since launched our PPC for commercial real estate. So that, and we locked up a commercial building, mixed use, 3-unit in downtown St. Louis a few weeks ago. So we can do the same thing for home sellers as we can for commercial investors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what we found so far is we don't think there's not many people out there running ads specifically targeting commercial buildings, land. So
multifamily.
That's really we're killing it ourselves doing it, and we're ready to start rolling that out too to investors.
Gotcha. Okay. So contracting 4 to 6, keeping 3 or 4. Interesting in this market. So you guys are, I guess, bullish on the real estate market.
Yeah. I mean, since the beginning of time, it's always been what people of wealth is gold and land, real estate. So, in the market we're in right now, I'm a trader as well. So I see it every day. But I know as long as you buy right, real estate, it always goes up.
As long as you buy right. That's the key qualifier. So you're also a trader. What does that mean?
Day trade.
Day trade.
Yep.
You don't have enough going on here with this?
I mean, I'm in front of the computer. I'm in front of the computer all day anyways, but it's something I've always been into. I've been doing that for 4 years, but it's nice to see like the trends. When people get scared, certain like gold, for instance, always goes up. And you've probably seen the price of gold, what it was 12 months ago to what it is now, and it's gone up over $1,000. So it's, we can relate that to also the price of real estate pre-COVID, post-COVID. So yeah, it's nice to see trends because it all comes back to the consumer, and got to make a position. Buy a house 30 cents on the dollar. Buy a gold bar 30 cents on the dollar. So yep.
And then one thing I'm seeing here in the notes, AI made all this possible.
Yeah, I'd say really just with the people don't realize that these Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google algorithms, their algorithms and the way they access, we can access them as advertisers is how it makes all of this possible. AI takes all of this data and organizes all of this user behavior for us. So the same way, like you can pull a list based off an idea you have. Every single list you could ever think of is already uploaded to Facebook. Facebook's been around since 2005, maybe, and it's been tracking every single thing we've been doing for the first 20 years. I'd say 15 years. Every person that's been born and everything they did for the first, I'd say 15 years, it was tracking everything. Since then, now it's tracking about 85% of everything we do, just because of the changes. There's a big iOS update in 2001 where basically, if you guys, I'm sure you've all seen it, if you open up an app on your phone, it will say, do you allow this app to track? And that basically just says, can Meta track your behavior on that app? So before that, though, like no matter what you did, if you've ever visited a website, if you go to Nike.com, every single person there got a pixel from Nike. And now every single thing they ever did online after that gets fed into the pixel, Nike pixel that goes to Meta. And then you got to think about how many different businesses advertise on that platform. Every single one of them is pixeling every user. All that's funneling into the same data warehouse. So sure, like they don't tell you like, here's a list of all the people that hit this criteria. Instead, like you said, we target based off of what we tell the algorithm we're looking for. And then we train that and we tell it when it's doing a good job and a bad job. And eventually it just goes to the list that we kind of gave it on the back end. And it won't never give us access to it, but it will allow us to advertise to those people.
Right. You'll never get their names or email addresses.
Yep. The actual hard data, but the access to advertise to them.
To be clear, 2021, you were talking about the iOS update.
That was the first one that was specifically about cookies and tracking. And we have one we're dealing with right now. So.
What do you mean?
Yep. Well, the new one is this update that was going to lead us to talk about cold calling. Is we found that.
Well, so hang on before we get into that one.
Yeah, sure.
You're talking about AI is making all this possible.
Yeah.
So like, there's some things that Facebook is pushing right now, where the messaging sounds like we want to get rid of marketing agencies.
Mm-hmm.
We use AI.
Yeah.
So basically, like you show us what your product is, right? Like you're a link to like your checkout page or your landing page, and then like your marketing collateral.
Yep.
Right. And then we'll just take care of everything else.
Yeah.
So they're trying to AI all of this.
Yeah.
And I can say for myself as a marketer, I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
Only because they're doing all the AI stuff. Whenever someone clicks on my ad, and they don't buy, or even if they do buy, let's say they have a scheduled call with someone on my team, they're still showing every other similar ad.
Yeah.
Everyone that's like clicked on my site, right? So like every other sales training organization or every AI organization is now getting a cheap opportunity to market to my people that clicked on my ad.
Yep.
So anyway, I just want to touch on that.
Do you think about how bad it is if someone's the type of person who's willing to cash offer for their home, and you click an ad and you fill out one form, and if you don't contact that person within 10 seconds or the first half hour, whatever it is, how many different other competitors and how many forms are filling out, and then that data gets pulled to a cold call team and they're being cold called. So speed to lead is incredibly important in the industry, which is why it's like, why would you want that lead to sit in the CRM of a PPL company? You want you need to contact the person right away, because just the same way as that industry, that's every industry.
Yeah. Well,
as soon as you start shopping for one thing, you're going to see every option there is as an advertiser goes.
Yeah. You're looking at cars. Click on one car ad, you get 5 more car ads.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. Like you kind of connected this dot for me. I haven't realized it. The importance of speed to lead here, because like on Google, if they fill out one form, they're generally going to fill out like 5 or 6 other forms.
Yep. They're all right there. They're all right on the list.
Well, that's the reason why we have our AI call them like instantly.
Yeah.
So it's proactive defense. But now on Facebook, yeah, now because Facebook's just gonna feed them more
Yep.
cash for your house ads. Once they fill out yours, they're gonna see a whole bunch of more in their face.
100%.
Yeah, because I never thought about that with Facebook, but yeah, that's the case now too.
Yep. This is why speed lead's so important and why we strive to be like, if as soon as we generate a lead for a user, we want it to be in the hands of our client as fast as possible. And hopefully they have the processes and systems to be able to contact, like you talked about your like the solutions you guys are building and providing for that. And if you don't, then you probably won't be the best partner because maybe should be cold calling or whatever it is, because those processes is so important. It's only becoming more and more important. People's attention spans are getting shorter, and the solutions are flying at their face. So if you're the first solution, you better be the right solution for them, or they're going to go with somebody else.
Right. And then, so you're saying iOS is making things even more difficult now.
Yeah, we released to all of our clients, we put out like a memo a couple weeks ago about the new update. It's pre-screening unknown numbers that you don't have saved in your phone, or doesn't have, recognized that you're talking to that person. And it'll just send them right to voicemail. Or say, hey, please state your name, and then we'll see if we can connect you. So a lot of people don't even know that they're being called. So we're just trying to get our clients ahead of the game that, hey, try to hit them up at text them maybe a minute before you call them, or send them an email too, because a lot of those other forms of communication that you have when a lead comes in are going to be more important now, because that person probably pre-screened an unrecognized number and it's hard to get in touch with.
Do you have any data? What percentage have like the latest iOS update?
I know that I dealt with this a lot because back when the first iOS update really shook the industry in 2021 was about cookies and data. And it made it so just iPhone users originally with the latest operating system, it was like they were slowly being tracked less and less and less. And when we found by the time it fully rolled out, it was 40%. And that's just the iPhone users. About 40% of people were not being tracked the way you were able to track them, a year prior. And so it couldn't tell if someone added that product to cart or if they even purchased, which is why they may continue to see your ads even after you purchase from you, because they've chosen to opt out of that tracking. So that led us to build a platform to where we had this massive hard-coded database of people. Talking like these massive data providers have been collecting data from government and the post office and everything, and somehow connected an IP address, and we could cross-reference an event that came in through a pixel with an IP address and say, this is Steven, even though he's opted out of tracking, this purchase event was him. So now we can actually have our pixel work. We built this whole software for that. So this is kind of what I do, is I see these shifts in the industry and try to find solutions for them. This is what I feel like is the next one, is inbound is going to be so much more important than like specifically cold calling for this industry, because we're going to have pretty soon, we're going to have 40% of people not answering the phone because of iOS update. And what happens is the trend is Android's going to do the same thing. They're going to realize that, like, hey, people are flocking to iPhone and Apple because of this specific software that is improving the customer experience. They love that they're not getting 10 potential cold calls or loan offers or refi offers from random numbers a day. So Android's going to follow suit, and now you're going to have, probably left with just people with landlines that you can cold call that'll probably have a good chance to pick up. So they better be expecting your call if you're going to be trying to reach out to these people in the future.
Yeah, it is interesting with the screening the calls and so on. I'm asking about the homeowners. And the reason why I'm asking this question, like what percentage, is because we've branched our AI into different industries, right? And then it's funny, like on the cleaning industry side, right? So someone wants to get their carpets cleaned, couches cleaned. There were a lot of iOS. There were a lot of like iPhone with a newer iPhone.
Yeah.
So like we had to very quickly make changes to our AI bot to be able to go past the screening.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
So they can answer the screening question, and then once they answer, then have a conversation.
And it makes total sense. Like, I think if someone is willing to pay someone else to perform a house service that they could potentially do themselves, then they probably have a little bit more disposable income. Younger and want a premium product, be wanting the hit premium product, has that keeping up with the Joneses of I need the newest iPhone with the newest iOS.
Right,
It's the
but
type of buyer behavior.
on the house selling side, this has now recently become a problem,
Yep.
but it wasn't a problem.
Yep.
So like we've also obviously rolled out the update on that
Yep.
side as well.
Yep.
But it's just funny, like on one side, on the carpet cleaning, it was like instantly, the moment we got into carpet cleaning, it's like, hey, we need to fix this. And I was
Yep.
like, crap, how do I fix this? Right? I'm freaking out over here.
Yep.
But then like 3 months later, it's like, hey, we're having this problem now on the house buying side.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think about when dealing with that same problem with the data tracking side in e-commerce, when you're spending $20,000 a day and all of a sudden you're not tracking a third, the first starts with a third of your users. Now you're now when you're trying to remarketing, you're not remarketing, list is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
Mhm.
And you're not able to give that prescribed journey that nurtures someone to a purchasing decision.
Yeah.
Where you show them this ad, then this ad, then this ad, then you give them a 10% off coupon, and that has it. You could track them and do that. You can't anymore. So it was causing the industry to shift to tens of thousands of dollars. Now these companies are spending a couple $1,000s a day on ads because that's the only way they can do it profitably. And that's what happened on that shift. Meta then made it to more taking the keys away from the media buyer and more AI and algorithmic based, and focusing more on local businesses and lead gen, giving the advantages to those types of companies who don't need that level of data because a dollar value isn't assigned to each click all the way through as much. So that's what he gave me when he came to me with this. I was like, this is where these platforms are going. It's going to be harder and harder to do well with e-com in high ticket sales. It's really going to be more service-based lead gen. That's going to be the ones who are going to win on these platforms, which is why we went this direction.
Yeah. So adding or continuing this thought. So we're saying iOS, now this phone blocking is rolled
Yep.
out to majority of the iPhones. Android is just going to pick it up.
Yep.
So what then? Are you guys just going to plant the flag? Like this is the hill you're going to die on? Like cold calling is dead.
I mean, it's always been, I guess, a little bit. It's a low entry point, right?
Mhm.
Unless you have like a massive team and a huge call agency or whatever.
Mhm.
But typically, the people that come into wholesale, the first thing they know is start cold calling. Get a dialer, just get a list, and just start calling through. But the people who are already established and are doing, want to add another lead channel into their operation, it's, we can get them. We can get better leads for them too. So kind of they can compare what they're doing on the cold call side to the inbound stuff with us, and it's kind of a no brainer.
Yeah. We're getting to diminishing returns.
It's just like the
It's
chance
tough.
of contacting someone is just going to slowly go down
And
with the screening versus you have people who will just answer a number from a number they don't recognize. Now it's got to be pre-screened before all of that. And then they have to be there. They won't even hear their phone ring. They won't even know that someone's calling them because it's a number they don't know. It will just completely say, no, you can deal with the voicemail, and they can decide to call back if they want. Where at least before, if you're cold calling, like the phone was going to ring unless, it was disconnected. Now it's you're never even going to get a chance for them to get that call. So
a lot of competition too on the cold.
Right.
It's all the time you talk to a seller and they've already spoken to 5 people.
no matter what, you're being somewhat intrusive. Where inbound, if we can get the same quality lead as the highest quality PPC lead, someone searching for that solution, if we can get it inbound through all these other platforms or anywhere else we want to advertise, you're gonna win. And because with cold calling, time is money. The cost to have a cold caller is gonna just keep going up with the economy. And then honestly, with this specific industry, like the reason you guys had the success calling our leads is because it was who was calling, and was that person expecting to call, and had a real problem. And we're trying to just focus on that.
Yeah. I mean, the people that answered were ready to talk.
Yep.
I mean, these were not scheduled appointments.
Yep.
But it felt like scheduled appointments. Like they were ready to talk. I don't know if this is what you were alluding to, Drew, but it kind of sounded like you're making something to compete against Hyros.
I love Hyros. Alex is cool dude, and used it a ton. I think potentially, I think Hyros did a great job for solving like really e-com and high ticket sales and like solving the money problem. Like I want to know, if I spend this much money on an ad, how
Before
much
you
money
go
came
through
out.
all that,
Yeah,
I think I want to hear this argument.
yeah,
But to get everyone else up to speed, because not everyone's a digital
sure.
marketer. Yeah.
yeah.
What's Hyros? What problem does it solve? And then how are you solving it differently?
Yeah. Hyros is a tracking platform, And what it did was it solved the actual reporting that an ad platform says versus what really happened. So what I really like to simplest way to explain it is you have these mega corporations that are all have advertising platforms and they all are very greedy. They all want you to spend your money on their platform. So you have Google. Google says, come spend all your advertising budget on Google ads. And TikTok wants you to spend it there. Meta wants you to spend it there. But then also you have an email marketing team, right? And they're sending out emails. And a consumer, especially a consumer who's going to buy something online, very rarely does it take just one, they see one ad and they buy the product right and they're ready to buy. Sometimes it can take up to 20 touch points to get that person to buy it. So maybe they see an ad on Facebook and then they're retargeted because we have this data on Google, and then they see a YouTube ad and then they sign up for your mailing list and they get an email and then they finally buy the product. Now, each one of these platforms is competitors. They're never going to talk to one another. So Meta, these attribution windows are usually, up to 30 days. So as long as the sale happened within 30 days of a user seeing my ad, I'm going to attribute that to be a sale. So now when you go on your platform, it says, wow, I got a sale on Facebook today. I got a sale on my Google ads today, and our email got a sale today. However, that is just one transaction, right? Because that person was cookied by Facebook, they were cookied by Google, they were cookied by TikTok, and by your email service provider, and they did purchase. None of them are they all want to take credit for that because they want you to say, oh, I'm going to invest more money on this platform. So when you look at that at scale with a company who's getting hundreds of thousands of clicks a day and thousands of purchases a day, it's impossible to know really what's happening, which platform is working well, which campaign, which creative, because Meta is just guessing and throwing purchases. They're getting these events saying someone purchased, but they can't tell because of the tracking problem of
Apple blocked that
where
information.
it was. Apple blocked all that information. So they're just guessing and they're calling it statistical modeling. They're using an AI to try to say, well, the click occurred within this window. It's probably this campaign with this ad. Sophisticated marketers could have hundreds of creatives running at a time, dozens of campaigns across multiple platforms. So Hyros organized it into one tracking platform where you can say, Facebook did this, here's the actual results, because they're actually adding their own kind of pixel that's sorting through all that data and organizing it so you can get accurate information. There's also really another great company called Triple Whale that does that for e-commerce. It works really, really well. So there's a lot of companies that do that. So yeah, we're trying to solve that problem by the funnel we build and the data, how we train the pixel to be laser focused so that, we don't necessarily have a reporting problem because of the amount of data, because we're really targeting the data at the user level to really get the right people through the funnel.
So again, just to recapture, because it's really complicated.
It's a lot.
The very first time you talk about Hyros, like, what the hell is this
Yeah.
thing? So really the point is someone fills out your site and they click on this ad. They're like 123 Main Street.
Yep.
Right. You want to know 3 months later, because it's really like it's going to be more 3 months in like houses, right? 3 months later, like we bought that person's house, and from that transaction, we made $23,000.
Yep.
You got to go back and tell Facebook, hey, this person that registered 3 months ago turned into $23,000 in revenue. Give me more of those ads.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
But Facebook doesn't know that because you don't have a good reporting platform.
Yep.
So then you just run. That's why we're talking about, like, you have a really good, well-trained pixel because your ecom background.
Yep.
Most people are just like, Facebook ad, hey, this campaign got this many leads. This looks pretty good, but we can't really like, or it was like this particular campaign.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if you can figure out how to go against Hyros, I personally, our organization, we use ClickMagic.
Yeah.
I wanted to use Hyros. I used Hyros for a bit. This thing does not scale well.
Yeah. I used it a ton as well. I think it depends on how you're using it and what vertical you're in.
I guess what I say, it doesn't scale well, is it doesn't scale well financially.
Yeah, it's expensive
because the cost increases as you're more successful.
Yep.
Versus a traditional model, right? Like, hey, you spend $1,000 a month and you make 50,000. That's great, but they decide, okay, well, you made 250,000. This $1,000, I know that's how our labor didn't really change, but we're going to charge you 5,000 now.
Yep.
not such a fun model for
Yeah.
us as users.
Yeah. Exactly. It's
Brilliant
it's
for
basically like you're basically just partners with them. They're basically like, if you think about it, own a percentage of your revenue. If it scales,
They got
the
a rev
revenue
share.
scales. Yeah, it's like basically a rev share model for a SaaS
Yeah.
for an ads tracking platform. So
Brilliant for them.
yep.
Hey, this solved a really important problem. It did make a lot of people a lot of money. So other lessons. I mean, we're nerding out here. So $100 million in ad spend. What other lessons have you learned along the way?
Oh man, I think that like the main thing I always think about is it's who is running your ads is a lot more important than what platform you're on or whatever it is. Creative is incredibly important. A lot of people, the reason why we're so good at what we do is because of the amount of creative I've generated. I can you could send me 10 images and I'll tell you that one will work on ads, that one won't work on ads, I don't even have to do it. And then we could go run those tests and it would, because of the amount of things I've seen, the amount of tests I've run. So creative and messaging, how you talk to someone, how you talk to a user on the platform is really important. And sometimes that's going against the grain. Looking at what every single one of your competitors is doing and doing something the complete opposite. A lot of people will look at what their competitors are doing and saying, that guy's killing it, I'm going to copy what he does, instead of thinking the opposite of going against the grain. And that's where I've always been as a marketer, is trying to find ways to create creative that is not on the platform right now. So we have a lot of creative that I've, you'd only see if you're in a situation like ours that you want to see one of our home buying ads. You'll never see it if you're not in a desperate situation right house, but it's very unique and creative that I don't think anyone else would come up with and try to run. And that's really some of the things I've learned, spending that much money and seeing what a bad creative costs to get a desired result versus a good creative cost to get a desired result. And then how important data truly is, and how you set up your funnel and how you train a pixel, and the data piece, which a lot of people can, you could have someone code a website and it looks amazing. Have someone code a website and it looks horrible. Who the person is really what the difference is, and how much experience they have in the background and their creativity. It's the same thing with who's running your ads, right? Just because they say they can run ads doesn't mean they can.
So for someone listening, then they want to run their Facebook ads, right? They're not ready to sign up House 65, but they want to run Facebook ads. What questions do you ask on who to hire to run your ads?
I would definitely ask them how much money they've spent on the platform. I would say, where are you getting creative? Like, can you show me examples of creative? And because that's really important. Because anybody can just go on Fiverr and say this, or can just go up and do it. But like, do they have access to creative? We have an entire creative team at our company. I'm sure you do too, because having an in-house creative team that your wild, crazy idea you have in the middle of the night for an ad can be put into play. Like, that's what you need to really succeed. If they're just going to do what other people are doing, then it's just a race to the bottom. All these platforms are an auction. Who's ever willing to pay the most for the customer is going to win. Whoever is going to be the most creative to get that customer's attention for the cheapest price is going to win. One or the other. If you're in the middle, you're screwed.
Yeah. So either it's bigger budget or bigger creatives,
or a better team building the creatives and running the platform. Yeah.
And I think creatives is probably more of a jargon term. So again,
for
the layman, what does it mean creatives?
Think about the actual TV commercial, the actual commercial you see on TV, and a commercial on Sports Center is going to be geared towards a different demographic than a commercial on the Oprah Winfrey Network or on the Lifetime movie network, right? So does the person who's running your ads understand that this is for a male in his 30s? I should run this commercial or this messaging to someone on Sports Center versus I'm going to run this messaging for this person on the Lifetime movie network.
Yeah.
What the actual messaging is, the person who's in the ad, the type of creative, does it catch your eye and make you stop when you're scrolling? When you're doom scrolling on Facebook and you're down on that 100th scroll, is there something that makes you just stop and pay attention to whatever that is? And then you say, I have this problem. And then that's who wins. If it just gets lost in the scroll, then you're dead in the water.
So for me, creatives is the headline, the static image or the video, the content when they click see more or whatever, and then the landing page.
Yep.
All of that. That's what
Yeah.
you want to see.
Yep. And you want congruency across that. You want them to see something that says something, and they go to a landing page, and does it say that same thing, reinforce that messaging?
Mhm.
If I think about it like when I think creatively, I've done a lot in the e-commerce space with health and wellness. If you want to talk to someone about losing weight, you could market it as something burns fat, it slows down, it speeds up your metabolism, it suppresses your appetite. There's all different ways to say a thing can help you lose weight. Which one of those is the right way? Well, if you test it, right? And then you test it, and then if you have a landing page that says this suppresses your appetite, but the winning creative says it burns fat, well, now you have a disconnect, and you're not going to convert that person at a high rate. So how do you create a congruent messaging through all of that creative that leads them to a desired result? And then do you have the right pixel trained to target the right people? Yep.
Going back to commercial real estate, you guys have started buying commercial properties. What kind of commercial properties have you guys been buying?
Warehouse, mixed use, dirt, a lot of dirt.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even say the dirt is commercial. Sometimes, it's in an area where it's already zoned or whatever, but vacant land, farmland, stuff like that.
Farmland.
Like cattle leases. I'm sure you've heard. Like people would just
I don't know a lot about cattle leases.
Yeah,
You
I
have
mean,
to
just in the middle
get me
of
up to speed.
the other day, 20 acres of land in Oregon, and the guy is getting like, I don't know, $2,000 a year, I think it was. And he's never been to the property either, but he knows there's a farmer up there that'll lease it from him. And he puts like his horses, his cattle on it, stuff like that. Like, dude, the return on that, it's crazy.
So $2,000 a year.
Yeah,
What are you buying the land for?
20 grand.
All right, so you're buying the land for 20 grand.
Yeah.
You know that's going to lease for however long.
Yeah. Usually they're like 5-year leases with cattle, but I guess the one cash flow is good. The benefit, there's no depreciation because it's just dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you need a place to stick money to avoid paying capital gains taxes.
Mhm.
There's all types of deals out there everywhere. You just gotta look for them and make sure they work.
You bought multifamily though?
We've done, let's see, done 5-unit. We have a few leads right now of like 10 and 15 units. But we just started the commercial.
Yeah, we've had leads though for also like storage
Self-storage.
facilities, also like campgrounds, trailer parks, things like that, and those all can be extremely lucrative, cash flow opportunities if you hang on to them.
On the commercial campaign though, it's like there's just so many different properties that come through. Like any day you could get one where it's like, oh, okay, it's a retail building. And later on that day, you get one where it's 20 acres of land, or what else? Just industrial, like a warehouse or something like that. Gas station. So it's like we can get anything. It's hard to like just focus on like one part of it, because typically these sellers they're currently our investors, or they were at one point, and they might not give you that 70% minus repair price. So it's a little more for the savvy.
They also don't know how to move it a lot of times,
Yep.
So it's easy to find a realtor to buy a house, but sometimes moving a rundown commercial building, it's a little bit tougher. So
They inherited it.
They've never seen an ad for someone offering to buy it ever. So, they fill it out, and we take them through like a 20-step funnel. Like it's not easy. That's why our leads are so, motivated, because they don't, if they want to go through one of our competitors' funnels, good for them. That's easy. But we want to make it hard for them, because if they make it through, then they're going to answer the phone. They're going to talk to you. They're ready to talk, because it's not an easy process. It takes time. They have to put thought into it. They have to answer questions the correct way. And they also have to physically type out sentences. They can't it's not just clicking yes or no type thing. So that's why we build out that sharp journey. So by the time we get a commercial lead or a home lead, they've already been through a pretty rigorous screening process to get.
Yeah, got it. And then we'll be sure that we put a link in the description on how to get a hold of you guys. I already passed your information on to a couple of people.
Ooh.
And I've had people reach out to me as well. I was like, what do you know about? I was like, I don't know a whole lot about them, but like I know like when I called their leads,
Yeah,
they were like really easy leads.
Yeah.
which I think as a house buyer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Yep.
Yeah. The commercial side's a little more savvy, but sometimes like you do run into that person whose grandparents died and he bought, so many properties back in the 50s. And he doesn't know. He just inherited 20 acres. He wants you to get rid of it. And he sees our ad and it's like, okay, like, well, if it works, it works. So it's
The land, also the commercial side, there's less emotion tied to the property. A lot of time, it's like your home that you grew up in, or you saw your kids grow up in. Like that can be a little bit tougher for people. That emotional decision. Sometimes the commercial side is there's less emotion attached to it. They're like, what? Sure, whatever. They're just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. So then I guess looking for each of you guys, which hat are you wearing the most right now? 'Cause you're buying real estate, but you're also Lead House 365. Which hat are you wearing more most days?
Lead House 365. My job in this business is sales, to connect with investors, because I can speak all the troubles they went through in the past about marketing, about sales, hiring a team. I went through it all. So it's very easy for me to just be like, dude, I went through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I realized, let alone I'm still buying real estate. So I'm not trying to coach you to jump on a plane with me without a license. I do this. Everyone, here's the success rate. Here are the references, so that's my job is the sales side. Andrew's job is, the ads, the management,
Fulfillment, making sure guys are crushing it.
Yeah. But I mean, you strike me as more of the social one, but you're still behind the computer.
Well, we both do
This
sales.
stuff, half the stuff he talks about, I don't even know what he's talking
So
about.
I mean, you and I can kick up. But if I talk to the typical home buyer, I can blow their mind with what we built and set up, and they want to try it. But as far as I can't relate too much to what they're going through, I can just tell you how I solve their problems on the technical side and say a bunch of words that they may not understand, but they understand that reference of, when I did say I needed a lawnmower, I did see an ad for a lawnmower that day. It's like, that's what I do.
Right.
That's what we do. We're going to do that for people looking to sell their home. But yeah, we both handle the sales side. He handles more of it, a lot on the fulfillment and process side, and always trying to find new technology we can integrate to make our systems and processes better and more up to date. Whether that's just trying to build out a CRM for maybe some people who aren't currently using them, you'd be surprised, but how important that is in this process that we don't currently have we can also build you out a CRM that's custom built for you that plugs the leads right into it for you. Working on that, also working in technology of how to get someone completely across the goal line to sign a contract without ever needing to talk to a wholesaler is the problem we're trying to solve. Of if we can have someone click our ad and then get their name on paper at the end of our funnel, and then they end up connecting with the wholesaler is our end goal to get to that point. That's really where the game will be changed.
So say that again.
So essentially, someone clicks our, they see that they are going through a problem. They see an ad. They go through our funnel. It qualifies them. We're able to digitally give them an offer and get that house under contract all in the same website
for
our clients and fulfill that for our clients so that they're talking to the sellers after they've already accepted an offer.
Why are they talking to a wholesaler if they already signed a contract?
Well, just to
So if
to
we
essentially the next step is
move the deal.
Is to move the deal. Exactly.
No, the next phase is how do we get a seller to go through our pre-qualification funnel that is going through, very obviously a super serious seller that they're willing to just, we'll have a formula embedded into it that is our client's formula, right? 70% minus repairs, minus wholesale. And it pre-calculates an offer for them with a signature. So the seller can do the sign right there. And all we're not handing off a hot lead to our client. We're handing them a deal already.
And then their job is to go take that deal to the closing table and everything. But that's our end goal is to get to that point, and we're getting closer and closer.
I mean, Steve, what of that person that you spoke to on the live call? Don't you think there was a good way that she was so motivated that maybe if the funnel brought out the emotions in her, that she could have just signed right there without anyone ever speaking? Sometimes these people are that desperate. It's that easy. It's like, okay, well, if we can solve that problem, why would there ever need to be an acquisitions person?
An interesting problem to solve. We're working on it ourselves.
Yeah.
We're trying to build all that out with
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
That goes.
Yep. We are too. Yeah.
Technology, man.
Technology. It's got to be. There's got to be a way. We're both in this going the same direction. Like there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And once we get there, it'll be game changing for sure. It'll be disrupting.
Yeah. Definitely disrupting. What would you say is your superpower?
My superpower, I think, is just understanding what a true customer journey is. Like what takes someone from awareness to becoming a loyal customer, and that could be for any industry. And I think that's it. Like understanding how the human brain works, from marketing, like reverse engineering, so in buying something to what the journey that led them there is, and how to nurture someone from point A to point B.
Yourself.
Loyalty, yeah, relation. I definitely tell it like it is. I'm like the nicest asshole. You know what I mean? I like to, if there's a problem, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to tell you, hey, you have this problem. You got to fix it. You know, because at the end of the day, we can only provide people with opportunities. If they're just always going to come back and complain about the lead, this or that, but not, open the onion on their own business and say, hey, maybe it's us. I'll tell them that. I'll let them know that, hey, you have a sales problem because here's the proof. Watch this video. Watch this. If you're doing exactly what they're doing, then you should have a deal. If you're not, then that's their issue.
Which failure would you say you learned the most from?
Which failure did I learn? I'd say probably that, and then also in the past, just hiring people that, did just because they're willing to come in and sit in a chair for 5-10 hours a day or whatever, not properly training people to what we're here to do. Just because you can talk to somebody and get a signed contract doesn't mean that you're going to stick around. A lot of people, this industry, they come and they learn it with a firm and then they quit and they go do it on their own. So
how do you prevent this from happening again?
NDAs. Everyone's got to sign, I guess. But also in our own wholesale business, no one works here in the States. It's all overseas. We've done that part. We've trained and we know that good help is a lot of times is overseas. So if they're been properly trained, then they'll be good at their job. But if they weren't, then it's my fault.
Where do you like to hire overseas?
Central South America, just time zone wise, and as well as just our English here is very like laid back, kind of chill. Talking to a seller versus Europe, like people would think that people with a British accent are smart just because they have a British accent. But I've learned that if it's somebody like localized time zone to us, they're more on our level of slang language, and their English is more aligned with the Western Hemisphere English. I've tried Philippines, Egypt, but it's always more aligned with European level English, and it's too proper. So it's kind of easy to pick up on. And we get those calls all day anyways.
I've never tried the Egyptian accent.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have used the Egyptian VAs.
Yeah.
I've never actually tried.
Yeah. I've had a lot of success, El Salvador, Colombia, Venezuela.
It'll be tough if you're like, I've done a lot in the Philippines, and it can be tough with technology, internet connection, and just they have natural disasters. They may be out of power for days. So reliability can be really
infrastructure.
Really tough. So depending on what seat they're in, it can be really tough for a business if you have them in an important seat and they disappear for a few days. Unfortunately, it can happen.
Which failure did you learn?
And I'd say probably just there's too many to count all of them, but I'd say I got laid off from a job that I thought was a really cushy corporate job, and I was busting my ass as hard as I could, and I kind of learned that if you're making money for somebody else, that no matter how good of a job you're doing, like it just comes down to business, and they're never going to really appreciate how hard you work for them. And it kind of made me take the leap to where I started my own business. And the first time I started my own business after I left a really cushy job, I made the same amount of money as I did working that job for years, where I had that, small little salary bump, and I got to wear jeans on Fridays, and we all had cake in the office or in the kitchen when it was someone's birthday, doing that life. And then the first month I made the same exact amount money, that salary, and then I never made less the month after that. And it's because I truly found that, like, when your back's against the wall and the fire's in your ass and you have to go hunt to eat, that's the true motivator in life. And I've never looked back. I don't think I could ever work for someone ever again. And so at the time I thought I was a failure getting laid off, and I thought it was like self-doubt. And once you get over that and you realize that you just have to go do it, realize it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
I would say, just in our limited interaction, I would say you can never work for anybody. I would agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
When you think about some last thoughts you want to leave all the listeners with, guys, you got value from this episode, make sure you subscribe. We got even more disruptors coming on, and we'll be breaking down the exact moves that they're making to win. And when you guys subscribe and share, we can reach more people, create more millionaires. Last thoughts you'd like to leave all the listeners with?
I'd say that just the last thoughts would be is, if you're in this industry, if you're in the real estate industry, then definitely look into inbound. I'd say that if you're just an entrepreneur looking to gain insight and knowledge, I would say that just like really pay attention to trends and what technology is happening, because the next, I think, 5 years, especially with AI and the way technology is, it's going to probably create as many, millionaires and billionaires as the .com boom, or I'd say really social media boom there was like the .com boom, the social media boom. I think this is the AI boom. And if you're ignoring it and thinking that, I'm safe, or my job's not going to be replaced, or I don't need to adopt this new technology, you're going to be one of the companies left probably in the dust. And the ones who adapt to it earlier and learn it and accept it are going to be the ones that are going to thrive.
Totally agree. How about yourself?
What was the question?
Last thoughts I'd like to leave all the listeners with.
I think just kind of what Andrew said about technology. Also, there's just so much. Every day there's something new coming out. So just try to stay on top of the new technology and AI. So we work with a lot of guys who are still trying to do the old school spreadsheets, notepads, trying to take it to the next level, or they're simply trying to just cut out wholesalers. I'm a flipper and I paid wholesalers $300,000 last year in assignments. I want to get to the source. Learn the sales process first before you hire an agency like us, because we're expensive, and most agencies are very expensive. And if you don't know how to talk to sellers, figure that out first. Dial in your sales process, because those wholesalers are your lifeline right now. Even though you're paying them a lot of money per deal, they're the ones bringing you consistent inventory, and they deserve to get paid too.
Unfortunately, we always joke around in our industry, what we do, the people who need us the most are the people we probably can't help. People who need the hottest leads are the people who probably have the most broken sales process. So like, no matter what, no matter who's giving you the leads, won't be there. But people like you who don't necessarily need us, you would crush it if we work together with what you're capable of. So yeah, but we really appreciate you having us on, man. It's been super fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
For coming on.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.
Jump on the Steve train. Disruptors.